One of the reasons I created the video about if raw gold farming is worth it was the terrible economic situation we ESO players find ourselves in currently. Among other reasons, deflation and the lack of players' liquidity are a huge factor. So, how can we pump more gold into the economy? For that, we need gold generators that, unlike guild trading, doesn't just redistribute gold, but creates new gold. With the raw gold question covered, today we're going to answer: is antiquity farming worth it? I won't go into too much detail about the Antiquity System itself, as I assume most of you are aware of this feature. Just very quick, you can start the Antiquity questline in Solitude in Western Skyrim. You will need access to the Greymore DLC, otherwise you won't be able to unlock and use the feature. So, what exactly are we testing? We are going to figure out how many antiquities we can excavate in 1 hour. Why that would be interesting? Oh, I'm glad you asked.
But I didn't!
The basic leads you get for each zone don't have a prerequisite to be scried. You start with the green lead, and upon successful excavation, you get the blue lead. And the best part, you get them every time without a limit. The only limit there is that you get the purple lead only once. These excavated items are vendor items, with 250 gold, 1000 gold and 5000 gold for the purple one. Can you follow so far? Great! In order to do this efficient and the fastest way possible, we need zones that are as small as possible, to minimize downtime between excavations. For this, of course I had to pick Ivea and Artaeum. Both are famously known for the quickest scrying leveling, but can they net you a nice profit too? Ivea is a base game zone. The Way Shrine should be unlocked by default for you. If it isn't, you can ask another player for a teleport or finish the Mage's Guild questline. Artaeum on the other hand is part of the Somerset DLC, but chances are that you have access to that when you've got Greymore. This time I decided to test 2 zones for a better evaluation of the results and to give you options. One major benefit about antiquity farming lies within the fact that these spots can never be contested. Unlike popular grinding spots, you can farm to 100% of your abilities every time, in the middle of the night or to rush hours. Just like in our last test, we will sell the merchant items and green and white gear, except jewelry. In addition, this time we will receive treasure items, which obviously we are selling too. We will keep everything else, and what those drops exactly were, we will see in just a bit. Seriously, I know you wanted to click off the video already, how dare you? Alright, you've been patient enough. Let's jump to Ivea first and talk about anything coming up on the go. I started my grinding session at the only way shrine in Ivea, dumped my gold into the bank for a better overview, and started scrying. Please know that for both grinding spots I had found the antiquities 3 times already. The reason that's interesting is the fact that after finding an antiquity 3 times, you have completed the codex entry for that particular piece, meaning you will get no more lore text for that antiquity and therefore saves you a couple of seconds every time. The first thing you will probably notice in Ivea is the verticality, which can make it difficult to assess the location of the dig site. As you can see in the footage, I've had some issues at first, but since there's a finite amount of spots the dig sites can be, I memorized them fairly swiftly. There are 1 or 2 dig sites that are very inconvenient and require you to swim a bit, wasting you precious time. Other than that, Ivea is pretty straightforward. In case you're wondering how I got all 3 bonus items most of the time, here's a tip many are unfamiliar with. You're probably aware of the smoky little vents that upon unearthing explode and damage your antiquity. But you can use these to your advantage and clear big portions of the dig site in one swoop. First, identify all vents at the dig site and then draw a path to each vent in your mind. Now it's your goal to get every square on that path to the same height, including the vent itself. By then, the shovel with which you clear single squares should be fully charged. Now, you just use this shovel on one of the vents to get to the bottom in one click, and all vents, including a path, explode. And since bonus items are usually hidden beneath these paths, you've got a good chance of finding them. Make sure to fully uncover the main antiquity first though. Alrighty then, I hope you're ready for some data since we are now switching over to the results of our Ivea grinding session. In 60 minutes, we were able to excavate a total of 44 antiquities, 22 of which were green, valued 250 gold apiece, netting us 5,500 gold. The other half consisted out of blue ones. With a vendor value of 1000 gold, it granted us another 22,000 gold. In addition, we've received 6,499 gold from selling treasure items and ornate white and green gear. In total, we farmed 33,999 gold in form of raw gold alone. Let's switch over to the drops we've got by getting the bonus items. We found 20 Indeco runes valued at 790 gold, netting us 15,800. 3 times edged manganese for an extra 2,200 gold apiece, and 2 of each edged adamantite and corundum worth 2,570 gold each. We found 13 pieces of the zone style material, which in this case is pristine shroud. Unfortunately, being priced at 56 gold, it nets us a mere 728 gold. In terms of gear pieces, we found 8 pieces of intricate gear, as well as 1 purple bow we can sell for 1,280 gold and 250 respectively. The total worth of items for guild traders ends up being 34,938 gold. Adding the raw gold to that, we found a total of 68,937 gold. That concludes the results of the Ivea grind. The raw gold gains have been fairly decent. Especially console players around should be very happy about that. Unfortunately, with the lack of a meaningful zone style material, the gains through guild trading are mediocre at best. Fortunately, I've tested another zone, so let's get over to that, shall we? I hope you're still with me because the results for Alteum are quite something. But first things first, I once again started at the Way Shrine, dumped my gold in, yada yada yada, you know what's up. Alteum was definitely the prettier zone, and it was immediately noticeable that there were a lot more players about. And as we will conclude in just a second, for good reason. Here comes another quick tip for you. If you want to try the antiquity grind for yourself, don't forget to pick Miri for your adventures.
Miss me?
As she likes you excavating. Every 5 minutes you will get 5 report with her, so in 60 minutes you will get 60 report on the side. Alteum was a lot less vertical and therefore easier to navigate. Additionally, opposed to Ivea for the most part, there are plenty of resource nodes scattered around. While I didn't pick any for this test, it might be a nice addition for your own grind. With that out of the way, let's take a look at the results. I can already tell you right away, this place had a lot more to offer. After 60 minutes, we were able to complete 47 excavations, so 3 more than in Ivea. I'm assuming this is due to the easier navigation. We found 24 green antiquities worth 6,000 gold and 23 blue ones netting us 23,000. With the addition of our vendor sales of 4,901, we ended up with 33,901 in raw gold. But the more interesting part lies within the drops. Starting with Indeco, we found 21 in total, netting us 16,590 gold. This drop rate is very similar to Ivea, which makes me believe that drop rate could be the same. Across both spots we found 41 Indeco out of 91 excavations. This amounts to a drop rate of 45.1%. Please note that the sample size is quite small, so take this value with a grain of salt. Next up is the zone style material, which in this case are actually 2. We found 7 pieces of vitrified melondo worth 357 gold each, and 7 pieces of colander lacquer with a selling average of 3,800. That equals to 2,464 and 26,600 gold respectively. It's noteworthy that colander lacquer is needed in plenty of Somerset furnishings, which are very popular. Again, we have a comparable drop rate of the zone style material, similar to our results in Ivea. In this case, with there being 2 zone style materials, the chance is suggested to be 50-50 to receive either of them. In 91 excavations, we found 27 zone style materials, resulting in a rough drop rate of 29.7%. Again, small sample size, so treat these numbers with caution. Switching over to the edged style material you need for ancestral motifs, we are greeted with a completely different picture. In Ivea, we found a total of 7 edged materials, but here in Alteum, we got a whopping 18. 3 of these were adamantite, 7 corundum and 8 edged manganese. These net us 7,710 gold, 17,990 and 17,600. While it's true that we found 3 more antiquities in total, the drop rate in comparison to Avea is so different that I don't feel comfortable concluding an average across both spots. If this is because there is actually a higher drop rate, or if it's within the margin of error due to the small sample size, we can't really deduce from the available data. Finishing up with the gear pieces, a total of 11 intricate gear and 3 other noteworthy pieces were left to be found, adding another 1,760 and 700 gold to our purse. We end up with a total guild trader value of 91,414 gold. Adding our previously established raw gold gains of 33,901, we end up with a total of 125,315 gold. That is almost double the result of Avea. Wow, sweet. Let's let that number sink in for a second. 125,315. Nice. And yes, I hear you.
But it was supposed to be about raw gold.
And yeah, you're right, but we've established the numbers for that already, haven't we? Besides, where's the fun if we don't include guild trader values? I mean, imagine what you can buy with 125k. That's at least a few dozen furnishing plans you will literally never use. Or a whole half of a page of the ancestral motifs. Alright, Jesus Christ. Let's get back on track and make a little comparison with our previous test at the Verrant Morass Grinding spot. We were able to gather more raw gold than we were when grinding mobs. Though unfortunately, it comes with a price. Unlike with grinding mobs, antiquity farming doesn't grant any experience whatsoever, so grinding mobs is clearly the winner in that regard. However, this is very susceptible to competition with other players, which can easily become frustrating. Antiquity farming doesn't have that problem. You can jump into it whenever you want, for however long you want, which makes it perfectly accessible for any kind of player. Adding to this, though this might be subjective, grinding antiquities feels a lot more peaceful and less stressful in general. In terms of monetary gain, both spots are comparable when including guild trader values. At first glance, the gains at Verrant Morass relied heavily on the drops of luminous ink. And the reason that's problematic is twofold. First, the drop rate of luminous ink is very low. We are talking about 0.03%. Though I couldn't confirm that just yet, I need to do more testing about that. And it relies on you owning Gold Road. Second, the prices for luminous ink are constantly falling. At the release of Gold Road, you could sell one for 70k, but we've went under the 10k mark by now, resulting in a big volatility of the established monetary gain of Verrant Morass. In Artaeum, however, we got very consistent drops of valuable materials, making that method a lot less volatile. Alright, so TLDR, between the two spots we can say, need gold and experience, then grind mobs. You're only after gold and materials and want to do it whenever you want, then Artaeum would like to have a word with you. That's it for today. If you made it this far, here is a reward in form of a cat picture. Subscribe for more cat content. What should I be testing next? Maybe luminous ink drop rates, hardwood drop rates? You will let me know in the comments, right? On the right you find another video of me, and on the left you can subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate that. Other than that, I hope you have an awesome day, you take care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.